What's up, bro?
Hey, what's on your mind?
Uh, what is a faithist? This is actually the first time I've ever encountered this. Or yeah, what's a
Yeah,
faith?
I get that a lot. Nobody's ever heard of a faithist. It's weird. I've been doing lives on TikTok for about 3 years, and every time I do, it's always what's a faithist? Okay. Basically, a faithist is somebody who only worships the creator, and we make a distinction between the creator of the universe and the many gods of the Bible and the various pantheons found throughout all of human history. Um, we
Do,
focus on serving others and developing selfless love inside of our hearts and harmony that we can share with others. And we don't
do you worship the
prost
universe as well?
well, we believe that the universe is an extension of the creator, so that it would be kind of like the creation
So
of the creator is part of the body of the creator.
yeah, so yes, then
Well, sort of.
no.
I would say we don't worship like rocks. We don't
Do
worship.
you talk to existence itself?
Yes.
Okay. Does existence speak back?
I would say yes, but in a subtle
You're
way. I
still
would.
so how
I
fluent are you in the language that the universe speaks, would you say? Because I understand why you worded it that way. You don't want someone to attack your mental credibility. I'm not going to do that. I'm just curious, like, how fluent are you in understanding how the universe speaks to you?
I would say probably not very fluent. In my experience, the more patience you have and the more you can get rid of expectation, the more surprised you'll be at
You know,
the messages that come through.
facts. Okay. Patience is a large part of becoming fluent in the universe's language and understanding because most people look at language and communication based off of human communication and human standards or human practices are not the universe doesn't revolve around humanity, right? So it is different. You said in subtle ways. Would you can you detail
Sure.
yeah.
So the creator is the closest thing to us. I mean, he's literally in our cells, but he's also the quietest as well. It's kind of hard
Yeah.
to.
Because what we have to say is so important, it doesn't really matter. Like, if you're gonna like tune into other people or speak over us, I mean, we don't really get much benefit from making everyone else's lives better. So we're not gonna. But I was asking, like, because you said you do have the universe speaks back. Can you like
I
show
was,
me or give me a
yeah.
convert? Oh, you were getting
So
there.
yeah, sort of building a point on top of another point. Um, we believe in kind of two types of inspiration. Indirect inspiration would be when somebody writes down wisdom or instruction or whatever in a book. They may have been guided by divine
Yeah.
inspiration themselves, but
Mhm.
because it's not given to us directly, it's indirect inspiration, which may be useful, but direct
Yeah.
inspiration would be obviously communication or inspiration for the individual. Um, so, in my belief system, the creator acts through agents, kind of like proxies,
Music,
because
TV.
everybody is on a growth journey, and they all have to um, develop skills and responsibilities. So, the task of inspiring humanity is not the creator's task particularly, but that task is given as a responsibility to different. Um,
Would you?
hang on, let me finish.
Oh, okay, go for it.
Um, I'll call them angels. So you have a maybe a guardian angel. Let's just say, let's keep it simple. Their goal is to guide and inspire, and all of that as part of their learning journey of directing your life. So I would say the inspiration is coming through the creator, but also through a proxy.
Would you be able to recognize, just for conversation's sake, lack of a better term, would you be able to recognize if the creator or creators, whichever one suits your fancy, would you be able to recognize if they appeared in front of you in physical manifestation, or would you not be able to?
Well, I think I would. I think that the best course of discernment would be having a conversation, and if the interaction was trying to guide me in ways that went against what I know or what I believe are principles of the creator, then I would say, based upon the instructions or responses to questions, that would give me the best answer.
Hmm. So if they like, let say I'm God, right? If I was telling you something that you didn't like, would you be like, "Oh, that's not God," or what do you mean by that?
Yeah, exactly. So let's take the example of Abraham and Isaac in the Bible, right? So there are actually several different versions of that. I think there's one in the Quran and one in the Bible, and in my faith discipline, we have a version of it. So the the voice that told him to sacrifice his son was not the creator, and he asked the angel to explain why, because he worships the creator who values life. Why would the creator tell him to violate his own
Right.
principle? And the angel realized that he had been caught in a lie and went away. And so that would be the type of example that I would be
So
going for.
basically, what, and correct me if I'm wrong, basically what you're saying is like you would entertain God until God said something that you disagreed with, and you would be like, "You're not God."
Yeah, I think that would be
So,
the smart thing to do.
so if God says something that you don't like, you would ignore God, but God knows more than you, right?
Well, that's the thing. You're it could be an imposter, right? So you're trying to figure out if it's an imposter, right?
Yeah, yeah. Like if I were to tell you, like, speaking with God, right? There's definitely gonna be some things that you learn that are gonna go against what you feel. One, because most of your understanding of who we are, of what life is, of what the universe is, comes from human understanding. Maybe not all of it, but a large portion of it does. It's just a byproduct of being around humans, right? And because humanity is not the axis for which the universe revolves, like humans can be compared to a worm that is poking its head out of the dirt and is now pondering the sun, which is exactly what humans are doing to this day. They're still trying to figure out exactly what the sun is, right? Using humanity as your foundation of knowledge or anything is always going to make an individual stupid, because humans have been around for like a cosmic microsecond, right? Or cosmic sperm cells. So, speaking face to face with God, there's bound to be some things that may stretch your mental perspective, or some things that rub you the wrong way, but you're speaking with God though, so you'd have to like come from a humble place and be like, well, you know what? You're God, so let me listen.
Yeah, listening was fine. You have to. I would recommend discernment. Like there are definitely possibilities of being deceived by an imposter. I think there are plenty of false gods out
Absolutely.
there. Um,
Absolutely there are.
I think it's not a matter of rejecting things that I disagree with or make me uncomfortable. It's rejecting instruction that goes against. Like if there was an instruction for violence, I would reject that. If there was an instruction for um,
We don't
uh,
really At least I shouldn't say we. Me personally, I don't really instruct people. I typically just tell people things, right? That you can't really you can't really say, oh, that's a lie, because I mean, when you speak in truth and simplistic truths, calling something a lie, is just shows the delusion of humanity. For example, like humanity is based in delusion, so much so to where if you begin to operate outside of human understanding, they'll call you delusional, right? They'll say, hey, like for example, in the 1800s, somebody would have called you delusional for saying that African Americans should be free, right? Because humanity at the time said no, like they're not people, right? Or to this day, like humans say you are or are not worthy to live based off of your reproductive organ, based off of your skin color and things like that. That's delusional. That's not how reality works, right? Humans are the same people who think that they define what success is, that they define what educated and knowledge is, right? Imagine talking to God or a God, whatever, and telling them, yo, I'm so successful because I've got all this paper, you'd get laughed at, right? Or I'm so smart because I've got this PhD, you get laughed at. Like every decade, as far as humans measure, like everything that you guys thought you knew gets completely flipped upside down, right?
Yeah.
Like humans still don't like a simple concept is like the edge of the universe. Is it really the edge of the universe, or has humanity just not developed the physical tools to where you guys can see what lies beyond? The same way before, there was a time where you couldn't see outside of the solar system, there was a time where you couldn't see outside of the galaxy, but humans operate in finite understanding and say that that's the edge of the universe, when more likely you guys just haven't created the physical tools to be able to see the next, for lack of a better term, universe cluster.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, everything is expanding. Part of the way the universe works is in cycles, and it's always expanding because the creator never rests. Is always the creator is always creating. So, yeah,
I
I
mean,
agree with that.
yeah, that part. I mean, because life is meant to be lived, not played, right? So, like growth, when you're living life, I mean, growth is a natural part of life, regardless if you fight it or not, right? That is undisputable. And I guess you could say it's always expanding. It's definitely always in motion, always working. Um,
Yeah.
but
I
it
mean, these are
really,
just things that I believe as a faithist. I mean, I think it's observable, the expansion of the universe, but I think that's a result of the creator, um, you know, um, his natural state of being is creating. So,
have you ever have you ever asked that like one on one to God and been like, hey, yo, what is your natural state of being? Because that's one thing that a lot of like religious fanatics do, Christians and Muslim people. I always ask them, like, you guys say that these books or these words come directly from us or come directly from God or the gods or whatever. Have you guys ever been like, hey, God, the humans are telling me that this is your divine truth and your divine knowledge. I know you exist, buddy. And can you tell me, were you actually Jesus Christ? Can you tell me, is the Quran or the Bible actually your word, even though we know for a fact that they were written by human beings, even as recent as who the humans call King James the Seventh? And they always argue, they always say no, or why would I do that, or blah blah blah. And it's like, well, then you guys don't know us. You know humanity and what they've told you about us, right? Humans, there's a lot of pride. Humans lack humility.
yeah,
Uh,
I would say that's true.
yeah, humans believe they know everything, and it's very bothersome because you get these fools, these foolish individuals who find themselves in position of societal influence, who think it's my way or the highway, right? But that's what they think, and it's like if I'm smarter than you, like humans are the same people who think that physical maturation and actual maturation go hand in hand, and that's just not true. There's a lot of raisins who are basically like cosmic infants. And there's a lot, like I tell them, like if you believe Jesus Christ was resurrected, if you believe Jesus Christ comes back, you do realize that he's going to have to go through the same physical maturation process. So there could be a 6 year old in your eyes, and you're 70, and there could be a 6 year old in your eyes preaching to you or telling you how life works. But because you as a human are looking down on them, like you're talking down to your Lord and to your Savior because you're an idiot who thinks that because humans told you that this person is six, that their brain capacity is less than yours. Like that's not how life works, and it's never been how life works. But you tell that to a human and they get upset.
Yeah. Oh, I have a question. I think it's purposeful. It seems to be consistent. Why? But why do you separate yourself from humanity in the way that you speak?
Uh, I'm not a human, bro.
Okay, go ahead and describe that.
Um, well, the essence that makes up humanity on a universal scale is significantly newer than the essence that I was created from, right? If you think of God or the creator or the universe itself, in essence, the things that make us up who we are, uh, on a cosmological scale, I would register as like a cosmic 7 year old just for basic understanding, ease of conversation. Humanity hasn't doesn't even register as a cosmic 1 year old yet, right? And the craziest part about it is I'm the youngest of my essence, but
So
I'm
why are you here, and what's the purpose and function of your existence?
uh to where we just grow, we live life. There's a lot of pain on earth, so if you think of existence almost as like for simplistic conversation's sake, if you think of existence as like a computer, you strum the right note, you hit the right button, and you get a command prompt, right? Humans have reached the level of pain and screaming for God that somehow they got it right, and there is a bunch of he, the earth has never been fully inhabited by humans either to begin with. Just because an individual takes on the humanoid form, their essence may not be human, right? There's individuals and beings on this planet whose cosmic essence is significantly older than humanity itself, significantly older than humanity itself.
So hang on. So are you saying that your vehicle that you're in right now, your body is human, but you as the driver are not?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
that's a good way to understand it.
So let me ask you about cosmogony and sort of the way the universe works and is organized. I'll describe my understanding, and you can agree or disagree with it. So you have the creator. We already talked about that a little bit.
Yeah.
Each world has sort of an administrative body, and from a human perspective, we would call them gods. Some of them are in the stream of consciousness that is loyal to the creator, and so their goal is to raise humanity kind of like a gardener with a garden. So, inspiring humans to choose choose the light, inspiring humans to maybe have lineages that are more conducive for hosting the inspiration. And then you have um, unwise beings who are trying to collect worshipers to themselves and create their own kingdoms and their own loyalties. They are disconnected from the creator, and so you have what has been termed true gods and false gods, and sort of this conflict in the cosmos over humanity. How would you say that perspective ranks to your understanding?
Yeah, no, that's it's pretty spot on outside of the fact that it's not just specific to humanity.
No, no,
Um
this is every planet. I'm just talking
yeah,
about this
yeah.
this
Yeah,
world.
that's basically
Okay.
yeah, it's a pretty good understanding you have.
The understanding I came to this came from a book. Have you heard of the Book of a Waspy?
I've not actually.
I would. I mean, you probably don't need to read it, but you probably would be um, you'd probably be you'd probably enjoy it.
Yeah, no, I'll definitely definitely downloading. Um,
Yeah, it's free online. I mean, I don't like to read stuff digitally, but I mean, I have a book, a hard copy, but you can read it online. It comes across as a religious document, you know, very thee and thou, kind of King Jamesy a little bit. But the principles found in Owaspy really connected the dots for me on how everything works. And I'm not convinced that it's accurate. I mean, I'm not like, I don't consider it a holy book,
right.
but it's very internally consistent and it makes way more sense than anything else I've read. And so I just put that out there. It's an interesting perspective, and it seems to be coherent and consistent with what is observable, which not very much is observable.
Yeah, no, that's I mean that's a pretty uh, it's a really good understanding. There are like details here and there, just but no, that's really
Check it out.
yeah. I might have to. I mean, I'm downloading it, so
There you
uh,
go.
but yeah, no, that's definitely interesting. I had something, but it slipped my mind, so that's uh, it's leaving. But even if you like, oh, that's what I was gonna ask. Since you have heightened your understanding of existence, you're clearly like more aware, I would say, than the average human. I would say. Uh, has have you noticed the way you reflect within society? How do people treat you, better or worse, now that you're smarter?
I would say the people I knew before have gone away, and my life is open and receptive to people closer to where I'm at now. It's been a shifting.
Would you say that since those people have exited your life, or you've exited since the energy has left? In the beginning, it may have seemed abrasive. Have you gained peace from that or clarity?
Very much peace and clarity.
Yeah,
And yeah, it felt like at the beginning, it felt like I was in
losing
constant
touch with.
mourning.
Yeah. Yeah. A large part of that, it's like growing pains. Essentially, is what it is.
Hmm.
It's growing pains.
Yeah.
There's times where life forces individuals to grow, but there's other times where you can choose to grow. And humans, because of what the trauma that they suffer based off of their authoritative figures, they believe that once you leave governmental concentration societies or schools or education centers, whatever you want to call them, that's when learning stops, right? And they don't accept anything outside of what their government gives them. Excuse me. So their growth is severely stunted. So
Yes.
when you choose to grow more, it makes you look abnormal because your level of awareness and consciousness has risen above what they're used to seeing because the government doesn't really allow people to learn how to think for themselves or use their own minds. Expressions of freedom in any society governed by humans are typically met with resistance. I don't know if it was like that for you when you were in school, but if you expressed more freedom than what your school would have allowed for you or liked for you to, you flip a card, right? They make a public example out of you and tell everyone, yo, this line of behavior is not an impressive line of behavior. If you do this, there's consequences to it. And if so, what that
Yeah.
does is it subconsciously shuts down your ability to think for yourself, and it subconsciously shuts down your ability to continue to learn or grow or want to explore because the trauma that they put you through says that that's bad.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
you,
I actually, looking back, think it took me a decade, my entire 20s, to try and figure out how to even think independently because I was so programmed to follow the doctrine of
yeah,
school, religion, all of it.
and you like it's very interesting because once you step off of the spectrum that you're authoritative, that once humans decide to step off of the spectrum that their authoritative figures have given them, that's when like the attacks start, and they like, you're on the spectrum, or you're psychopathic, or you're crazy, you're psychotic. They begin to attack you because there's like a climactic point, or a point of terminal velocity. You have like, once you hit that escape velocity, there's nothing they can do about it, and they don't like people getting there, because once you escape their atmosphere, mentally, their mental atmosphere, there comes a point to where people can no longer treat you disrespectfully,
Yeah.
and you get to give them the truth in such a simplistic and plain way that they can understand that the power that these authoritative figures have gained, which they've gained through lies, you now, like, you've basically become a threat to the society, because the veil doesn't cover you, and your presence alone and your think patterns and thought processes alone uncover the veil from others' eyes, right? As you gain this knowledge and information, you become more docile almost. You become not passive, but you more peaceful, because it just, the attacks become constant until you get to
Yeah.
the point to where you become almost unstoppable.
Yes. Yeah, that seems to be about right. So, part of the faithist belief system um, is kind of a form of non-resistance, non-violence, um, because there is no solution found in resistance of that nature. The only solution is to live a life full of peace, harmony, and love, and to basically let people exist on their own terms as they see fit, because you can't convince somebody that they're asleep if they think that they're awake.
Yeah. Once you get to a certain level, yeah. Once you get to a certain level of pain, emotional, if you don't act on it, or if you act on it intentionally, your emotions start to work for you for themselves. For example, you may feel completely calm, but your presence alone, like that, it'll be angry for you, to where like your peace becomes priority, right? So like your presence, your aura, for lack of better terms, will get angry way before you are allowed to be angry, because the more calm and collected you are, the more gravity, the more reality will move around you whenever you're no longer calm and collected, right? When your peace gets rattled or disrupted, people will feel it when you're angry, right? People will feel it when your emotion changes. That scares them, because it's power. It's real power, right? There's power
Hmm.
that is granted within the confines of the human archetype, the human architectural structure, whatever, right? Becoming a president, XYZ. But there's a real power that you get from growing in life. And the more power that you gain, the more scary you become a lot to these individuals, to these beings, who are essentially beneath you. A faithist is basically somebody who lives in reality, based off of this short conversation, Sherlock Bones. Those aren't his words. Those are my words. So humanity is not reality. Humanity is like a giant role playing game, and people like to participate in that game for the very simple reason of why people participate in any video game is because they can feel more. It makes them feel powerful or important, right? So from my quick assessment and interaction with this individual, with this being, you live in reality, bro.
Let
You
me
exist.
let me add this, because I understand what people say when they say this isn't reality. I would push back a little bit. This is a subset of reality. It's like a classroom. It definitely has a purpose. It's a training ground to prepare us for the greater reality.
More or less, yeah. That's what a lot of it is. Is like, even like, yeah. I mean, I'm not
Because it
gonna
is
disagree.
reality. It's just a
Yeah,
it's a
it is.
manufactured reality. Um,
I won't argue with that. No,
it has a purpose, though. I mean, it's real even though it's fake.
yeah, Yeah, I won't push back on that either. It's a good observation. Um, so yeah, no, I'm not gonna disagree with that. Uh, I mean, from my perspective though, it is. I mean, there's realness to it, but for the most part, it's basically completely fake. I mean, it's like say God comes down and you're trying to tell him, no, this is real life. No, it's not. You're telling me that like I'm God, the most successful being in everywhere, and you're telling me that I'm not successful because I don't have paper. You're telling me that I'm not educated because the paper doesn't say so, or you're telling me that I'm not powerful because I don't have a hold a political position. So that at that point it becomes fake because it's like I'm God.
Yeah.
Nothing you guys say to me matters. Nothing you guys are telling me is real.
From a faithist point of view, this whole world that we're in is more like an incubation chamber, and we're waiting to be hatched into the real world.
You've if you haven't hatched, your shell is definitely been cracked.
Well, there's levels to it, right? You can
Mhm.
hatch while you're in the world, like you can be awake to the process, but the true birthing process happens when your shell dies, your body, and then you can enter in the real world, which is the next level.
I mean,
Not just
yeah.
intellectually and spiritually, but your whole being is birthed,
Once I mean, yeah, once you enter the fourth dimension, right? Just for lack of a better term, like your internal destination dictates and determines your external definite destination, right? So
Yes.
once you're internally in the fourth dimension, for lack of a better term, right? That's where you exist, including your physical body, right? You just begin to experience life different.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, your body can, for lack of a better term, die or unalive for to not get your life taken down, uh, while still being alive because life is consistent, life is constant, right? A lot of people think that, for example, I talk to my big brother Nipsey Hussle all the time. He's no longer on Earth. Well, I mean, not the way that humans understand, right? He was somebody who was because he's a guy. Anyway, he's somebody who was whose vessel is no longer here, right, in that capacity. But it's like I talk to him like constantly. Like I like still like this is my older like from a cosmic standpoint, like that's one of my older brothers. I'm pretty sure he's the oldest like of the essence that we were created from.
Mm.
Like if he'd be the technically the first born child. Right, well I'm the youngest. Uh but you know,
Mm.
more as more time passes and more time goes on, separation will become completely evident as it's already become. There's beings and individuals such as yourself who are insignificantly better standing with my family than the majority of other people who have the humanoid shape. It's very refreshing to run into a, I don't know how aware of yourself you are, but to run into a cosmic being such as yourself because my interactions with humans are typically unsavory. Uh, your line of thinking is pretty close to my family's line of thinking. And when I say family, I'm not referring to flesh, I'm referring to my essence because that's
Yeah.
where we are. Yeah. Your line of thinking is it's very similar to my family's line of thinking, which is again a breath of fresh air. So whoever created the faithist and all of that, like if they're all like you guys are you guys are wealthy in reality. You guys are rich. You guys are very rich individuals.
Well, I don't want to speak for the other faithists, but we all have the same book, so we all have the availability of knowledge. And I would, I have to end the live, but I really would have to reciprocate your thoughts and feelings. It is rare to have a conversation, an interaction like this, and so I definitely want to express my appreciation to you. And if you do read Owaspy, I mean, even if you don't read it, I would still like to chat with you more. But especially if you read it, I would love to get your perspective on it for sure. And I know it's not a perfect book. It couldn't be a perfect book, but I would I would like to know where there are gaps or holes. I would like to see them, filled. I would like your perspective on it.
Yeah, I'll try to check it out in my free time. I don't think this will be the last time we interact though.
Awesome. Cool.
All right,
All right. Peace and
peace,
light to you, brother.
peace.